So disagreeing is necessary. I really do believe that we can't agree on everything because if that's the case, what's God made us all different. So what's the point in us agreeing?
What's good, my God made family? Look, we're back with season two and another episode of Lessons Learned. Look, if you haven't been caught up, this podcast is inspired by my father, the late Bishop Thomas Urquhart, who taught me so many life lessons. And he would always ask me a question, son, what are you learning? What did you learn? And, this episode is dedicated to marriage. Like, the one thing and I would have to say, guys, listen, I had to bring my wife, my lovely wife. I want you guys to meet my lovely wife. Some of y'all may know her, some of you may not know her, but y'all make some noise for the lovely Samara Simone Urquhart. Yes. So I had to bring my wife on this because this is my partner in life and this is who I do life with. And I couldn't do the episode with nobody better than you. I think uh, one thing I would say I learned from my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and with me and my dad were very close.
Yeah.
I would talk to him pretty much every day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you got to meet my dad, before he passed away. You got to build your relationship. Like, and I mean, what would you say? He was always teaching lessons?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So, like, one thing I would say, like, he taught me early and he taught it by being an example. Like one thing people used to never, like my wife used to never believe it. Like I ain't never hear my parents argue. I ain't never heard no yelling. I ain't great raised up in no house with no fussing and fighting. And I'm not saying that that's I'm blessed to have that, so I don't take that lightly because everybody don't come from that situation. So I'm not downplaying anybody's situation, but just speaking on my childhood, I was blessed on that. And one thing I learned from a great example of that, my parents would tell me learn to agree, disagree to agree.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's been one challenge for me. I have learned in our marriage to learn how to disagree to agree, not necessarily argue
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of winning a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
but trying to disagree to agree to get to a point of a solution. Like, what would you say your thing your thing on that is?
Well, I've always heard it. I don't know if I've heard it wrong or everybody got their own way, but I've always heard it like agree to disagree.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And
Agree to
I mean,
disagree.
I don't know if that's how,
No,
because
that's
I've
that's
heard,
that's correct.
but I've
Agree to
heard Mama
disagree.
say it and she says it a little differently, so I have to like see how she said it. But I've always heard it like agree to disagree. But because we will disagree on a lot, that's just natural, is normal, and I stand on that as well because I know you're not gonna always agree with me on things. We're two different people coming together as one, but I have my perspective and view on things. You have your perspective on things, and so understanding that we will not agree on everything, we can come in agreement with that and understanding and knowing that okay, you have your opinion, I have my opinion. Look, we respect it as long as we both know that we're not outside of the perimeters of the word of God and outside of like what God says, you know what I'm saying? And we can both agree to, that and come together and say, okay, I get it. You got your opinion, I got my opinion. Let's just, be at peace with that
Yeah.
and keep it moving or whatever. So,
But let me ask you, because I know, as like coming from being an independent, very my wife, y'all, super independent. Like if I do too much, I could do it. I can move that myself. I can get it myself. I'm grown. And it's taught me patience because a lot of times I'm like, all right, man, you got it. But I'll just still do it because at the end of the day, that's the example I've seen. But again, to going back to our point, like coming from that independent, that coming from that independent lifestyle,
Mhm.
right? And I think the challenge for us has been to how do we move as one? You know what I'm saying? Because coming from two different type of backgrounds,
Yeah.
uh, and you move in a certain way from the type of background you come from, and I move away from
Yeah.
the type of background I come from, and then you got to think too the things that's been added to your life over time
Mhm.
because of just what you've experienced and what I've
Mhm.
experienced on our own. You know, I think that has. Do you say? Would you say that all 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 disagreement is not bad? Because some people stray away from disagreement, right? And
I
I
think.
believe that when you stray away from disagreement,
Mhm.
it doesn't allow us to see the flaws
Right.
that we need to fix in our
Mhm.
marriage. And sometimes I feel like that gets people living in a fairy tale lifestyle or a
Mhm.
fairy tale marriage to think, oh, everything is all good when everything may not be all good, you know, and that's
Mhm.
okay. And I
Yeah.
think some people are afraid to say it's okay that everything is not good in our marriage.
Yeah. Um. I feel like disagreeing is necessary. Um. It helps us to grow as a couple, and it also allows us to see each other individually, and it allows us to learn each other
Yeah.
because um also we can learn from each other disagreeing because you may have a perspective on something, and because I'm so used to seeing it my way or seeing it one way, and you share your view or your perspective on that thing, it allows me to see, hold on, wait, I never thought of it that way. I never looked at it from that perspective. Well, let me think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a way for me to not just learn about you, but just to learn in general about whatever, about anything in life. So disagreeing is necessary. I really do believe that we can't agree on everything because if that's the case, what's God made us all different. So what's the point in us agreeing to everything? Like you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We're different for a reason. That's how we learn. That's how we grow.
But in that difference, right? Some people would
Uh-huh.
take that difference in
Mm-hmm.
marriage and just say, "You're your own individual person. I'm my own individual
So
person."
we're gonna move
But
differently.
yeah, we move. Then people go into moving differently versus
Mm-hmm.
learning how to say, "Okay, yes, you have your purpose and I have my purpose, but those
Mm-hmm.
purposes, with God having us together, they align.
Yeah.
They align in some form or fashion. They
Yeah.
align up, and we just have to. I think where the enemy attacks is the power of the agreement in
Mm-hmm.
saying I don't think it's like I think with us, right? I'll be
Mm-hmm.
very candid and very open. There's been a lot of things that maybe you didn't necessarily be like as Samara flesh wise, like I ain't for this, right?
Oh yeah.
But God really had to show you, where things where God was showing me, and I'm just like, God, I know you're showing me where
Yeah.
things that it caused times it caused us to be at a point where we were just like, hey, we you in your world, I'm in my
God.
world.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I thank God for is in that, and I think in that moment I really learned that the power of agreement, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like the moment that we did come on agreement, the moment that we did line up, okay, cool, yeah, Terrell, now your wife is your helpmate. She's able to see things in a different fashion to help what God has given you to go to another level. So now, okay, cool, you may not agree with how it's done, but she may have a better solution to how we should get there. But
Mm-hmm.
God has given you the plan as the man to help us get there as the family.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of times people say, well, I got this, so I'm gonna go build this, and you got that, and I'm gonna build that. And it's like
Yeah.
versus coming in as one because the enemy again he attacks the agreement. And
Yeah.
as long as we are agreeing in our marriage, again, there is no I don't. There's no foul. There's no hurt or foul, harm or
Mm-hmm.
foul when we try to disagree to get to a point where we're trying to see eye to things.
You know what? I feel like what helps with us being able to walk this thing out together in the midst of disagreements is the fact that we do keep God first, or we try to. And
It's so
we
important.
strive to keep Him first in our personal lives and together. I think that helps more than anything else in the world. Um, because I know when I spend my personal time with God, it helps me to be able. He literally would be working on me.
I be praying to make sure he work. I be like, Lord, that's your daughter.
Because
God, you know her better than I do. You gotta do it.
because
And he working on me as
oh
well.
my God, I've noticed that if I don't understand something that's going on within our marriage or just with life, period, and I start spending time with him, he'll start showing me and revealing to me what is going on and what he's doing. Not all at one time, but like piece by piece. And it helps me it helps me to be like, okay, all right, I'm gonna back off. I'm gonna sit on down. I'm gonna be, patient. And I'm gonna, you know, just change my mindset about everything.